Hello, Mom and Dad Meet World. So I want to talk about the iPad. Yes, the iPad, one of my favorite devices, if not uh, the most favorite device I have, especially for an Apple product. So we've actually been using the iPad since the original. This right here is the original iPad. This is Apple's own original case, and it has been pretty darn awesome. This was over 10 plus years ago since we've used the iPad, and we've been using the iPad throughout all iterations from the original 30 pin right here to Lightning to USB-C, and then USB-C slash Thunderbolt right here in the iPad Pro. So I know that the iPad has had somewhat of an identity crisis, or people have thought it has an identity crisis. I've always thought it was a jack of all trades because it's been pretty darn awesome, especially for what I use it for. So I know people can hook up anything from a full-blown dock with a keyboard and a mouse, whether it's a wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, and trackpad, and it's essentially a computer running iPad OS, or you could take your iPad right here, hook up your Apple Pencil to it, and you've got a really awesome note-taking device in the iPad, and it is pretty darn cool. So to me, when I look at the iPad, I think about it like a monitor. It's literally like a screen, but with a built-in computer. No, I don't run this iPad naked. I actually have it in a case, which I'm going to put it in right now. So one of my favorite form factors of the iPad is actually the larger iPad Pro. What we're using right here, this is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and this is just the Wi-Fi only version, 12.9-inch iPad Pro with the M1 processor, and it does have a Thunderbolt slot right here, or Thunderbolt port, and it's just been overall an amazing device. So I love using the iPad because of its simplicity. It's great for media browsing, and it's great for really just light computing. And I know we can have it hooked up just like a computer if we wanted to, but really for media consumption, it's terrific. So taking this on a plane, watching movies that you have preloaded onto it, or connecting to their Wi-Fi and watching a movie on here is really terrific. But I love actually taking this to like a hotel. If you travel quite a bit, you take it to a hotel, you hook up to the hotel Wi-Fi, and instead of using like the treadmill TVs or screens, you can actually use this hooked up to a pair of AirPods here, which I love using it hooked up to a pair of AirPods, because then you are breaking a sweat, but watching the media and consumption that you like to watch. I especially like to watch like TV shows or YouTube with this particular device, and that's why I do love having this device. The thing I really like using this for, and I use it like that every day, or almost every day, is for like your news. I use Apple News primarily with this. I used to use like Flipboard on the older iPads, but I really like using Apple News. It's really just your digital newspaper and your digital magazines all into one with Apple News. And I find that that's really awesome to use with the iPad, and this is like your digital newspaper. Checking email or doing a little bit of light web browsing is also great for this. Not having to have your MacBook or power on your MacBook or your desktop computer. I like just the simplicity of opening up the screen, the Face ID, and then there you go. You could instantly open up your news app, check email, browse the web very quickly, very easily. So everything I've said about the iPad you can do on your iPhone right here, and you can tell here the very big size difference between your phone and your iPad, but that's why I love this form factor so much. Yes, it's big, but it's not as big as you think it is, because you put it on a treadmill and then you are totally consumed by what you are watching. And I'm not saying you can't be consumed by what you're watching on this, but it's just a bigger, more immersive device just having the iPad. But something you can't do that I use it that I use it for a lot is I actually use it for sidecar, meaning it's like my second screen hooked up directly to our 14-inch MacBook Pro. So I went from the 16-inch to the 14-inch MacBook Pro, and I do miss having that little bit of extra screen real estate. But what I like to do, I like to use a USB-C to USB-C cable, and then having the MacBook, setting up the iPad right next to it, and then being able to use the iPad as a secondary screen. I'll have two documents open, or I'll have like a document and then an Excel file open, and then it really allows me to be just a little bit more productive. And I like using it plugged in just for that, I want to say more of that stable connection. Plus I can also charge the iPad, and then I'll hook up the MagSafe cable, and then I'll also charge the MacBook at the same time. That way we are, you know, being productive while getting our devices charged at the same time. But speaking about using the iPad with a MacBook, I really do think having an iPad, whether it be the bigger iPad Pro or the smaller iPad mini, is how well it works with the Apple ecosystem. So you've got the MacBook, the iPad, the phone, and it just works really, really well, because if you take pictures on here, you can view them on here, or like if I'm, say, on the treadmill and I'm watching an episode and somebody texts me, I can respond to a text without my phone being there. I'm connected to their Wi-Fi network. I can respond to text, emails, messages, all from the iPad, and vice versa from the computer. So I'm using the Sony a7 IV right here to record myself. If I take any photos, I put that into the MacBook, into Photos, and I can view those same photos right here. I can do a little bit of light editing, also right from the iPad. So I do love how it all just kind of works together within that Apple ecosystem. So my primary iPad of choice is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. This is not the newest, latest, greatest. This is the M1, but the rumors out there suggest that there will be a newer iPad Pro with a better OLED display. I honestly don't know how they can make that display better, because the display on here is fantastic. Speakers on here are phenomenal, and I have them hooked up to AirPods probably about 75% of the time, especially with doing a little bit of media consumption. And so just this pair alone is terrific. Rumors out there say there's going to be a better product, so I can't wait to see. Again, this is got to be one of my favorite devices, if not my favorite device of all time, and used it every day. Again, since the original one had come out, if Apple's making this better, I really can't wait to see what it's going to be like. So really awesome consumption device, especially for what I'm using it for. Again, you may not use it for the same thing, but if you do, know it's going to be just a phenomenal experience. So everything from the smaller iPad mini to the bigger iPad Pro, the iPad has just been phenomenal.